Alright. That's the sound of a new Malarkey hour coming right at your face. This is your host, Matt. And with me, always, my loyal co-host, John. How's it going, sir?
I don't know. Michael Keaton just got robbed.
John, a big Michael Keaton fan, is very disappointed. The Oscars were tonight, and he just lost Best Actor. And with us, our returning guest, Marshall. How's it going, sir?
Bueno.
Okay, good. So we are here on Oscar night. The night where Hollywood congratulates itself for being so awesome and white.
And, I was going to say pretentious, but same thing. Just kidding.
Yeah, so.
No. I like white people.
So
they've invented some pretty cool things.
So let's now that we start talking about let's do a little Oscar talk. Beginning of the podcast. We're not gonna spend too much time on it. Let's just get it out there. The Best Picture, Birdman.
Boo.
John predicted Boyhood.
Well, that's not what I think is. That's what I thought would win.
That's what you thought would win.
I probably would have voted on Whiplash. To be honest.
Yeah, Birdman won. Best Actor was given to Eddie Redmayne for playing Stephen Hawking in The Theory of Everything.
When I say he got robbed, I don't think Keaton got robbed. I just saw that. I told you The Theory of Everything yesterday, so I was like, ooh, maybe he could win.
He could win, yeah. And that was the predictor before the Oscars. People were saying either Eddie Redmayne or Michael Keaton. Best Actress was given to Julianne Moore.
Terrible movie.
For that movie where she plays an Alzheimer's patient. Still Alice. Best Supporting Actor was given to J.K. Simmons for Whiplash. Best Supporting Actress, Patricia Arquette for Boyhood, which was no surprise in those two categories.
No. The All-State guy.
All-State guy. The best Director was given to Alejandro González Iñárritu for Birdman.
Say his name again.
Alejandro González Iñárritu. We had Best Original Screenplay given to Birdman. Was it Birdman?
What, didn't Grand Budapest win?
Grand Budapest didn't win. Best Adapted Screenplay, it was nominated, was given to The Theory of The what's the one with Alan Turing? The Imitation Game won Best Supporting.
Okay, what won Best Screenplay again?
Best Original, wasn't it Birdman? I misforget, because I'm not looking at the list.
I think it was, because it surprised both of us.
Yeah, I'm not looking at the list. I'm just, this is all from memory.
I'm pulling it up.
Those are the big categories. If you want to know the rest, you could look it up on your own. But, yeah. Neil Patrick Harris was the host. He did
kind of sucks Boyhood didn't really win, even though it's not great. Because it takes 12 years to make it, and it got all that hype.
Yeah.
And then the only person that won was Patricia Arquette, who gave the most annoying speech ever.
So you don't think women should be paid as much as men, Joe? Is that what you're saying? Are you anti-women, Joe?
No, but she made it.
I know what you mean. It's always odd when people pick, but I guess the argument. It's always odd when people pick that platform to speak on issues, but the counter argument could be, well, this is one of the biggest stages.
Let's talk about your character Fletcher a little bit. I don't know if I should duck.
Technical errors here.
But the counter argument would be, it is a big stage, so it's a good time to talk about issues you care about, I guess. But
what did she talk about?
About equality pay for women and men. Then women should start getting paid more.
I guess I wasn't listening.
But
then they should pay when they go on dates.
I heard this joke. I forgot who said it. They're saying they gotta pay men more because they're the ones who pay for everything. So I forgot who said that.
Oh, that was what's his name? The one. What is it? Is he Australian? He's British. That show legit.
He said that.
Jim Jeffries.
Jim Jeffries.
Is that?
I think so.
I don't know if I heard it from him because I really don't watch him as much. I don't watch that show, but it might have been. I don't know.
I remember he said something about that in his stand-up. He's like, they gotta buy shit, dinner. He goes, and they gotta pay.
It might have been, yeah.
They gotta pay for Jim Jeffries tickets.
Yeah. So there was that.
Yeah, we're good with the Oscars.
Yeah,
it's over. Nothing special.
Nothing special. You know what? I don't think there wasn't that much surprises.
The fact that Boyhood didn't get either one, not that
like director or
Yeah.
because there's talk that it might get directed but lose Best Picture or
one or the other.
one or the other. But
Keaton kind of surprised me a little bit, but
there's talk
wasn't-
that it was
yeah.
a two-man race, Keaton
yeah.
or
I
Eddie
didn't really,
Redmayne.
I didn't really think it was till yesterday when I
Yeah.
saw that movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
Stephen Hawking won.
Stephen Hawking won. And we have audio of his of how he thought.
Do we?
Yes.
You gonna play that?
Should we play it?
I don't think you have it. Thank you. I can't do it, man. I'm horrible at this.
He sounded very excited though, very emotional. No, I'm just kidding. So moving on from the Oscars, let's get into the meat of this podcast. What we're really going to talk about. Our subject this week is going to be about conspiracy theories.
About what?
Conspiracy theories. I gotta whisper out it. We can, they might be listening.
They are.
Then you probably shouldn't put this on the internet
Right? We're gonna talk about conspiracy theories,
or record this at all.
or even talk about it.
Turn your phone off. It's got GPS.
One of conspiracy theories. One of our favorite topics to talk about late at night when we're been drinking a little bit and talking crazy.
I'm
Conspiracy
sober, by the way.
conspiracy theories. Let's talk about them, John. Let's.
Marshall hasn't said a word. He's been eating pretzels.
They're very good.
Marshall's enjoying his pretzels. They're gourmet pretzels.
I
John.
made
Yeah,
them
they're
myself.
gourmet.
Yeah, John's going into the pretzel business. So if you want to buy John's original pretzels, visit his website www.johnsoriginalpretzels.com.
Gross.
You know we have to buy that domain now, right? I think it's some kind of law.
So
Oh, somebody owns it.
does it?
No, I'm just kidding. I don't think so.
John's original pretzels.
John's Bam Schmangalam pretzels.
So by John, it's been in John's family for years. The recipe, and I gotta say they're damn delicious. So you said your grandma did them.
Shut up.
Sounds like conspiracy.
Her grandma
Yeah,
taught her grandma.
yeah. That's the conspiracy.
Right.
Part of the Illuminati.
But let's get into it. Let's
We don't use that word.
let's get into some. Let's talk about some conspiracy. Let's jump into a subject that I started this.
Okay, well, let's talk about what do you consider conspiracy? Like, what do you think conspiracy is?
Well, a conspiracy usually
Does it have to be bad?
No.
Well, usually it's associated with. Well, I think what it is for most people, because the reason
I'm
it's
gonna look up the definition.
I think the reason it's associated with, I guess, badness or evilness or whatever. It's because it's always the alternate take on a story, an official story. It's what we aren't told, and that's what everybody thinks of a conspiracy theory. It's the alternate story of what really happened, and usually it's about a big event or,
So if me and you,
some hidden organization behind the scenes orchestrating this,
so if me and you went off and
these
went
machinations.
to Marshall's house and threw a bunch of eggs and rang the doorbell at 3 a.m, was that a conspiracy? Because we acted together.
Well, it would be conspiracy if he thought if the story was it was a bunch of neighborhood kids, and for years that's what he thought, and then he were to find out years later that we conspired against Marshall and his house with eggs. And we had to really inconsiderate towards
Well, I'm trying
Marshall's
to give an example.
Marshall's house.
Okay, we went in and we just dry humped him, but he didn't know.
That's better.
And then we threw eggs at him.
To confound the insult. So
First thing that comes up on Google is, it says a secret plan by a group to do something unlawful or harmful.
yeah, so it's usually associated with something bad.
So I guess there would be a conspiracy.
Yeah. But let's talk about let's talk about several conspiracies. We're gonna be sort of brief because with any of these subjects you could go in depth with it for hours. We're gonna try to keep it brief as we can.
Well, let's talk about what do you consider yourself a conspiracy theorist?
Not really.
Yes.
I don't like the word, but
You don't like the association that comes with it.
no, but I listen.
Because if people hear conspiracy theorists and they imagine somebody with a tinfoil hat.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm a theorist, that means this is what could have happened, right?
Yeah.
Theory just means a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I didn't come up with it. I heard it. I've read it, I've heard it, or I've put it together.
Right.
It's not. Am I the theorist still? I don't know.
Sheep.
I'm just
You're
saying.
sheep in
You're a
goat's
believer.
world.
You're a conspiracy
No,
believer.
but that doesn't mean I think that's what happened. It means I don't know what happened, but maybe that's what happened.
Yeah.
That's where I stand on a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm a maybe kind of guy. Well,
Maybe kind of guy. Well, let's talk about a maybe.
Maybe.
Let's talk about one maybe. Let's get into a
Let's start
subject.
slow.
Huh?
Let's start slow.
Let's talk about a maybe. Let's talk about maybe.
That's not slow.
Let's talk about something that doesn't get talked about that much because I don't think a lot of people really know.
Sandy
about
Hook.
Whoa! You're jumping all over the place here, sir. The views of Marshall do not necessarily reflect the views of the Malarkey Hour.
Bin Laden.
About whether he's dead or not. Or
We can talk about Bin Laden a little bit. Go. You brought it up.
He's American.
okay,
He's from Jersey.
let's go into like a
Yes.
couple of like smaller, not smaller conspiracy, but maybe something that doesn't get talked about as much. Okay, so one of them's Bin Laden. There's a lot of people. There's some people out there who don't believe that he's really dead.
I'm the opposite.
The opposite, you think he is dead,
I think he died before they killed him.
and that's just your
I
theory.
think he's make believe. He's a face.
Do you think it's like spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen Iron Man 3?
I was gonna say you got Iron Man 3 going
So
on.
so in Iron Man 3,
I've never seen it.
That's kind of the story.
okay, so sorry Marsh, I'm going to ruin Iron Man 3. But in Iron Man 3, one of the storylines was they had this villain, the what was his name, the Mandarin or what was his name?
Yeah.
Played by Sir Ben Kingsley. He is the main bad guy, and you find out midway through the movie that he's just an actor. That he's really just the face of the real evil, the real, I guess, the puppeteer behind it. And he's just the face of this. Like, he really isn't real, and a lot of people believe that that's what Bin Laden is. He's just the face of what's really going on. Like, he just a facial representation of the real powers behind it.
Who's the real evil?
Well, that's where a lot of people, and this is a lot of theories come from. John, you know a little bit more about this. Do you want to get a little bit more in depth?
What are we talking about?
Bin
No, I
Laden,
heard it.
Bin
No, I
Laden being not really the real power behind a lot of this.
Well, I didn't say that, but, well, sort of, kind of. I just think it was odd when apparently this man was on dialysis back in 2001, 2002, and I don't know what year. When did we kill him?
Like,
2011?
I think I don't know.
10, 11?
years
I can't remember. Yeah.
And I can't imagine that, we were saying, oh, he's probably dead, by just pure, renal failure.
Well, yeah, and
I can't imagine this Afghan healthcare system it's got to be better than, it's probably better than Obamacare, but it can't be great.
and that's a lot of people's reasoning. It's like, okay, say Obama, say you believe in this timeline. Osama bin Laden died
Yo, mama.
before. He's been dead for years, but he represents this power. Just his image alone represents his power. So if he's dead, for a lot of people, the power dies. You got the leader of this organization dead, so you keep his image alive. And for a lot of people, that the image is more important than the actual figure. And then that was the whole thing behind, when the movie Iron Man, it was the image was more important than the actual man behind the image.
Yeah, but since we're talking about conspiracy stuff, what if Bin Laden was just an image for the American public to be afraid of? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that's the point. That if he's been dead for years, it's important for him to be considered alive, just to have his image still out there. So people, that's what people are saying, that he's been dead for years. He really didn't die that day. He died years before, and U.S. government covered that up. So they created this story of like, oh, we killed him. So because you got to have a body.
Yeah,
that was the most important part. You got to have this
But they dumped,
symbolic.
But they
the
dumped
symbolic.
it in the ocean.
Yes, I'm saying the symbolic body. That's why That's what people are arguing. They had to have the symbolic body in order to end this chapter.
Can't you go online and see Saddam Hussein get killed? Isn't there a video, or am I an idiot?
Of his hanging? Yeah.
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 So why did we dump Bin Laden in the ocean?
Well, the U.S. the argument that comes from the United States leadership is that they didn't want to create a burial site where people can go and, I guess, create because they want to create a martyr. And essentially,
It's okay for Saddam Hussein, but it's not okay for him.
Well, that's the thing. What Saddam Hussein's okay. So
We're
we're
gonna
get
bury him in the United States.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, with Saddam Hussein, his regime has nothing to do with Bin Laden. It had more to do with religion. Saddam Hussein's regime wasn't that religious.
No,
So
he was just an asshole.
So Saddam Hussein's it wasn't about his image. People weren't worshiping his image. People were worshiping Osama.
They had his image all over the city.
He put.
Yeah,
But there wasn't a strong force behind we gotta worship Saddam Hussein. There was for Bin Laden.
Like the terrorist camps with the monkey bars.
Yeah.
I don't know what the monkey bars are for, but apparently it helps with terrorism.
I guess. So I think that was the big difference between Saddam Hussein and Osama. Saddam Hussein was never going to become a martyr to any cause.
Well,
Saddam Hussein's reign was a very godless reign. It wasn't really religion based.
I want to see a body.
John always wants to see a body.
Why not? I think we deserve to see it.
What would you get behind? What would you get from it though?
It's a little bit of satisfaction.
A dead body?
Hang him. You know, I mean.
Well, they shot him.
Okay. It was apparently. Do you really think, with all our resources, we could not find this man in 10 years, more than 10 years? I don't know how long it was. You really think if that was our main goal and we put the amount of money that we put in other bullshit, we couldn't find this man for 10 years?
Well, the argument
living in caves. There are several reporters that testified that everybody knew where he was. That not everybody, but you could find him in remote parts. There's people that say they were allowed in there to talk to him. I mean, even there's some credible people that got fired. There's a Fox News guy. I'll look him up here.
Okay,
but
so
I'm just saying, people were able to find him according. We could even, let's say that's not even true. We could find him. We could definitely find him. I don't care how many caves or whatever we had to go through or how much land we had to cover. 10 years is a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're talking about, we have all this technology, we have all this power, we have all this wealth, we have all this stuff on our fingertips.
We don't have wealth.
But you know what I mean. So we got all this technology behind us. Okay, so say I have, okay, let's do another analogy. Okay, so say I have a computer, John, and you want to get access. You want to get access to my computer. You're the government.
He does.
How would you get access to my computer without physically grabbing my computer?
I know who you are. You're asking?
Yeah, you're the U.S. government. I have a computer. You want to know what's on my computer without physically actually getting my computer. How can you know what's on my computer?
Hacking it, right?
Yeah. But okay, so say I don't have it hooked up to the internet. How would you get it without physically getting it?
Can't.
You can't. Okay, so let's put that in with Osama bin Laden. If Osama bin Laden didn't use any technology, and that's the story behind that, he wasn't using anything. He wasn't connected to the internet. Any messenger that came, it was a physical person coming. It's a little bit harder. And then that's the argument that was made for why we couldn't find him for the longest time, because he didn't use technology. that any computers he did use
I don't care.
weren't connected to anything.
I don't care. Have you seen this man? $10 million. Have you seen this man? $10 million, your protection.
But we're also talking about different countries who they don't like the United States. Pakistan doesn't like the United States.
All right. Well, what do you want? 10. Give them whatever they want.
Yeah, but are they going to cooperate with a country they don't like at all?
Some of them. You're saying they don't want anything.
What does $10 million US dollars gonna do for them? They're still gonna be in that country.
I didn't say this. You said not $10 million. Give them something else. What do they want?
What kind
We'll give you your 70. What is it? 72 virgins right now. You don't even gotta wait. It's whatever they want.
Well, what can the United States offer them? That's the thing. Like, can you come up with anything like they couldn't offer them? Where it's like, okay, because money isn't gonna work.
We would find them.
Money doesn't work.
We have lots of goats.
We would.
Money doesn't work. As much as we are, it's useless over there. How is the United States? How is U.S. dollars going to help them?
How are these independent reporters claiming to find him and we can't find him?
Because journalists always tell the truth, as we found with Brian Williams.
Well, that's something else. But no, I don't believe that we weren't looking. We weren't looking.
And you know, and that's a lot of that's another thing that gets brought up. Yeah, that we weren't looking.
But no.
Why?
Yeah, why weren't we looking?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe we could get a little more. I think the fact that he's still out there kind of helped us expand a little bit, didn't it? War-wise. I mean, it started as a let's go get Bin Laden kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And then let's go get Al Qaeda kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then he kept coming out with videos, even though he kind of looked younger and kept sending his mixtapes.
Yeah.
He was like Tupac.
Yeah. Even though the man's dying of renal failure, but
Yeah, he was like Tupac still puts out videos to this day.
yeah.
There's a lot of records.
The time of his death
Oh.
in the background. Seen that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, so that's one. Osama really died years ago, and we really didn't do anything. Let's talk about something else because I mean, there's some stuff behind it, but
Yeah.
we really don't have that much behind. Okay, let's do another
You
one.
saw what I was looking at too, right? All the SEAL Team 6, the helicopter crashes. I mean, the same people that were on that.
They're dying.
We have at least 25 members on that mission that are dead.
What?
Yeah, helicopter crashes. Not all of them, but most of them were from helicopter crash. We got 25 members of SEAL Team 6 from there that are dead. That's a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
It's a dangerous job.
Yeah. But whatever.
Okay, let's jump to another one. Let's do one that you actually talked about the other day. The CIA's role in the drug war in the United States.
I didn't really prepare for this very well.
Now there's some theories out there that the CIA is not solely responsible, but has a hand in, especially in the 80s, creating the whole crack epidemic.
Yeah. I've heard that.
Right. You think it's a race war?
That's what a lot of people postulate, that it's a race war, that it's a cleansing.
I don't know.
I think it's about money.
And part of it might be money. The CIA is working with the cartels.
Yeah, I think it's probably money.
And that's the reason that this drug war is never going to end. That
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing. If we go back to, if you want to believe, you don't even have to be a 9/11 conspiracy weirdo. We got a never-ending war on terror now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We have a never-ending war on drugs.
Yep.
So, money, 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 money.
because I mean, as we know, wars are great for making money.
They used to be. Well,
They still are.
Well, they are not for us, but yeah, for the big dogs.
Yeah. So look at it like, okay, we went through the depression in the late 20s, 30s, and then what brought us out of the depression? A war.
Yeah.
At least helped.
Well, what year were you saying?
No, we were talking about the Great Depression. We were in depression for a decade.
Mm-hmm.
That will help us get out of it, and it wasn't just that, but it helped.
Well, after
having
World War,
a war, creating jobs.
Well, you're talking about like after World War II.
No.
Even
sorry,
starting with the war.
I'm kind of zoned out right now. My bad.
Even with the war.
Well, in like World War II, like we talked about that, where they were, the taxes were so crazy that we had a middle class.
Yeah. And after the war, we created the only time that there was really a middle class.
That's why Mad Men and the Don Draper days were so good.
Yeah, because the middle class actually existed. The middle class really isn't a normal thing, as people don't realize. The middle class really doesn't exist. It's not normal. It really isn't normal. If you really want to look at capitalism as a natural thing, it doesn't create a middle class.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah. I agree with that.
All the New Deals, that's what created the middle class. Post World War II, all the New Deals, that's what created the middle class. A little bit of socialism created the middle class that people don't want to talk about. But I don't want to stray too much from it. Okay, so wars, yeah. So wars are profitable, right?
Well, we had a few plagues that created middle classes, I think.
Yeah. Because and that had to do with the fact that it cut the population in half. And that's another ugly truth. Overpopulation creates income inequality. Yeah. You have too many people on planet Earth. There's not enough resources to go around. You're either going to be really well off or you're going to be really poor. And the really well off is a small percentage.
So you hate poor people?
Yes, I hate poor people.
That's what I got out of it.
That's exactly what it sounded like to me.
No, so wars are profitable, and that's that's one of the arguments with the CIA's role in the drug war, because it is a war. You had Reagan create this like drug war. Actually, really Nixon. Nixon's really the one who created the drug war.
Mm-hmm.
I would have said, well, Reagan was the one that talked about it.
Made it more popular, but it was really It was really Nixon's policies that created this drug war that we know of as we know it today. Yeah. So, what happens if? Okay, so this is what a lot of people who believe that CIA has a role in this. It's you continue you throw fuel on the fire, so you keep. Say there isn't drugs coming in. How do you keep this going? So you put drugs into the equation. You bring crack into the inner cities.
Yeah. You create a problem.
You create a problem and then you solve it. It's sort of like creating a disease out of nowhere and having the cure, spreading the disease to the people and like, hey, by the way, we have this cure you could buy from us.
Ebola.
What do you think? No, I mean, I'm not. Like I said, I'm not really prepared for this. Well, I mean, there's clear stuff. I could probably pull some of it up. I mean, some of the biggest drug, what do we have? Even the most recent one, they run guns. They rent drugs.
Fast and Furious.
Yeah, it's not about cars.
That's what I got from it, John.
Yeah, and they weren't they supposed to put like RFID chips in the guns, and then they went into Mexico and we lost all the guns.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
Yeah,
obviously, it's fucking retarded.
We forgot to put the chips in the guns. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
When they...
I mean, why would you give people guns to track anyways? Like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem...
a gun, like, you can mark it up about 1,000% just sending it to Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying if they actually pay for it, you can mark it up 1,000%.
And I'm sure CIA gets it for even cheaper.
It's probably like $1.
Well, you could mark it up as much as you want. Like, and that's part of the reason too. Like, I think vehicles you can't sell I forgot how new. Within a few years, you can't sell new vehicles in Mexico from the United States because you can mark it up crazy amount.
No, it really is like 1,000%.
Yeah, that's a crazy markup.
And I'll say this confidently: the CIA has ran drugs, they have run guns. Like I said, I'm not prepared for this.
No, and yeah, I mean, you hear it in the 80s with the South American cartels. You had the CIA essentially funding these regimes.
What was that Jeremy Renner movie that I watched?
Kill the Messenger?
Yeah. God, I can't even think of his name. The real guy.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, that's something right there. I mean, he... like, not prepared for this at all.
Okay, let's move on to another subject. I mean, those are the smaller ones. People don't talk about. Let's talk about the bigger ones. Stuff everybody's heard. Let's start with something more recent. Let's talk about 9/11. Yeah. That's obviously a subject that more people know about. There's a lot of people that have theories about 9/11. The official story is the Taliban, members of the Taliban with planes hit the World Trade Center and the Pentagon.
I think planes did hit the World Trade Center.
No. I mean, I'm saying the official story is the Taliban, members of the Taliban, flew planes into the World Trade Center and into the Pentagon. Now, there's some people who believe that that wasn't the entire story. That there's more stuff. There's more to it than that.
Yeah.
Marshall's falling asleep.
I am tired.
Marshall's tired of this bullshit. That's what he's trying to say. Okay, so
The conspiracies.
So let's talk. Because John, you like to talk about this theory specifically.
Put me on the spot here.
Oh, you're the one who likes to talk about it.
Which part?
You start off. I'll give you a carte blanche. Start off anywhere you want.
Marshall's talking the least. Let Marshall talk.
9/11. Turk.
Let's talk about the Pentagon.
Job?
Let's talk about the Pentagon.
Where's the wing marks?
Where's
the debris? Actually, I've seen pictures of the debris.
Weren't they, the pictures you saw, were they like on the grass or in somebody's hand?
Yeah.
Me too.
They're like picking it up or something.
Yeah, and it doesn't look burned or anything, right?
No, it looks like trash.
It looks like, yeah. It really doesn't.
Paper trash.
No, it doesn't. Like, you don't see it in the...
I just think it's curious that the plane hit the Pentagon and like the wing that was like under construction. You know what I mean? It was, I don't know. And then the plane that crashed in Pennsylvania, like they found the ID cards, just randomly of a couple terrorists. Just like the old thing in France that just happened. The terrorists, quotation marks, left the ID cards in the fucking car they took. Like, oh, why did they have their driver's license out anyways? Why would they leave them? Why would they take it with them?
Right.
I mean, if I'm going to go fucking kill people, I'm pretty sure, like, I don't need to, like, take my ID just in case I get fucking, pulled over or something. No. I'm going to go fucking kill people.
Well, didn't they find same thing in Pennsylvania? They found a passport.
Yeah,
and they found an airliner stewardess badge.
Yeah,
but there was no body parts that could remain intact.
There was like no wreckage almost.
It just looked like a giant hole in the ground.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay,
I'm not saying that didn't happen.
So the Pentagon. Okay, so the Pentagon evidence that people say disproves the official story. Okay, so one of them, there wasn't a cartoonish airplane imprint on the Pentagon. That's one of the stories. That's one of the theories. Like, why doesn't it seem like the hole in the Pentagon corresponds to a plane hitting it, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that one of the...
It's a big one.
Yeah.
Okay. People on the other side of that argument would say, well, a plane doesn't leave a plane shape mark if it hits something, if say the wing hits it first, it's gonna leave a smaller hole than if the plane hit it horizontally.
Well, it left like a tunnel.
Like a tunnel, yeah. And people on the other side would argue, oh, the plane hit with one of its wings. That's the reason it looked more like a lot of people say a missile hit it. No, it was one of the wings hit it, and that's why it's a smaller hole than what people would consider a plane hit.
Where'd the wing go?
It disintegrated.
Oh,
That's what a lot of people on the other side say.
It's such a simple explanation.
Now there's other evidence. Okay, so people say, well, there's windows right next to the hole that were left intact, right?
Yeah.
And people say, well, how come those windows weren't broken?
I mean, it's bullshit, dude. Look at the planes that hit the Twin Towers. It was like a fucking crazy explosion. You know what I mean? It was fire, and then the one that hit the Pentagon, it was like, oh, it just left a little hole, but the rest of the plane disappeared.
Okay, so
yeah, fucking right.
Okay, so the window thing. Okay, so a lot of people are like, oh, how come the windows were left intact? You would think a force that hard would have broken the windows, right?
They could be bulletproof.
So then that's on the other side. This is the Pentagon. The Pentagon windows are reinforced. They can withstand heavy forces. Yeah. So that's the reason they were left intact. So that's another argument. You got the debris argument. People are saying, well, where's the debris? And then the other side says, well, there is pictures of debris, and then they have proof of the pictures. Okay, so let's go to the World Trade Center. Okay. Let's look at the evidence that says, well, how come this looks weird? Okay, one of them was, how come, a lot of people say, well, it's explosions. How can the buildings just fall like it did?
Yeah.
Because steel doesn't melt, right? It takes, how hot does it have to be for steel to melt?
I don't know.
It has to be really hot, right? So people are saying, well, steel doesn't melt. It's I don't care how hot it gets. Jet fuel is not going to get that hot. They're going to create a fire that hot where it's going to make steel melt and it's going to fall down like it did. Okay, people on the other side says, well, it doesn't have to get that hot for it to. All the steel has to do is get to the point where it can't hold that much weight anymore and it's going to collapse.
Yeah, but how would the fire spread, down to the base of the building to where the whole
building
it
didn't have to. That was the argument. That it all the steel has to do was get weak enough to where it couldn't hold all that weight, which is a lot less. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to get as hot.
Yeah, but that was just on the top, part of the building. The top third of the building.
Let's kill a few seconds here. That there's nothing visual here.
Bob McIlvaine, whose son died in the World Trade Center, and Tony Zambati, a mechanical engineer. Nice to see you guys. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Nice to meet you, Ronald.
Our condolences, obviously, for your loss. But Tony, let me start with you. You're an engineer. Are you suggesting that the official account that Building 7 collapsed because of the fire melting the steel, or in some other ways, destroying the structural integrity of the building?
Just want to say, we're talking about Building 7, just to clear it up. We all know what it is.
It's the building right next to the
third building that collapsed like 5 hours after the initial impact of the other two.
Hollywood style.
Right. Anyway.
That's false. You think that that's false?
Yes, I do. And for a couple of reasons.
One is mechanical engineer.
Building 7 came down. It went into a sudden collapse across the full width and length of the building for 2.25 seconds, which amounted to 105 feet, or 8 stories, 8 13-foot tall stories. It was in full free fall acceleration. That is impossible because in a natural collapse, columns would have to buckle. When columns buckle, there is a minimum resistance. It's asymptotic, if you know what that means. That means it never goes to zero. So it's impossible. You can't reach.
So here's what I guess in layman's terms, to just get my hands here, Peter. So what he's saying is that the top floor collapses, hits the next floor, hits the next floor, hits the next floor. So it's bang, 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 bang. The weight of the upper floors.
It would slow down. What I'm trying to say is it was in full free fall acceleration. All of its potential energy was being converted to motion.
Instead of what I just described, the thing just collapsed like a pancake.
It just came down.
And so what are you suggesting brought it down, Tony?
I'm suggesting there was some form of demolition devices in that building for 8 stories or more.
You think that the explosives brought down Building 7?
Some form of demolition device. I'm not pretending to know what it is. I am saying that it was in free fall acceleration.
All right, let me ask you this.
Admitted to that.
Okay, let me ask you this before I get to Dad, before I get to Bob here. We've all seen old, obsolete buildings and public housing in other places outlived their usefulness, being demolished by the professionals who can actually collapse a building right in its own footprint. That's what it looks like happened to Building 7. Do you believe that's what happened?
Yes, I do believe that's what happened.
And why do you think they're lying about it?
I don't really know all the details of what they're lying about. I can't read their minds. All I can say is, scientifically, it's impossible for fire to have done what we see.
And Bob, these 1,300 engineers and architects who agree with you and some of the other relatives' families. I know you found your son just a couple of days after the disaster. He was outside. I don't want to get into the details of how you believe he died. But these architects and engineers, do they support your contention? Do you believe that it was an inside job, that 9/11 was an inside job?
All right, Geraldo, I believe it was an inside job, okay? I'm here
You
to
believe our government?
All right, wait, look, please. But the thing is, we don't have enough time to get into the reasons of that. We set up this Building What campaign. We saw the...
Building what? .org. BuildingWhat.org.
The reason we
is
have that is
website.
because Judge Lehner, when we had a petition to have a new investigation in New York City about Building 7. And when the lawyers...
And you're asking the New York City Council. I don't want to interrupt also to reopen.
So I know we don't have the time, but anyway, he said, building what? Because no one has any idea about Building 7. So because I believe in... I've talked to so many firemen, so many EMS workers, policemen, who talk about the explosions. And I know you don't want to get into my son's... But I feel my son died from an explosion. I went to all the 9/11 Commission hearings. I've been researching this for 9 years.
So what do you want? Let's get to the bottom line before we're out of time.
I want truth. I've been lied to. I mean, it's beyond a reasonable doubt that the 9/11 Commission did not tell this story.
9/11 Commission barely mentioned Building 7, if at all.
Right.
Okay, what forum do you want the investigation in?
Well, the forum, what we want it is in New York City right now, because New York City, we feel, has an obligation to investigate 9/11.
So before we're out of time completely, Bob, do you want specifically the New York City Council to open its own investigation of the Building 7 collapse?
Absolutely.
And that would satisfy you if they did that?
Well, I'm not done. I'm still a parent. I'm a parent who has an obligation to find out why my son was murdered. As far as this show and New York City, I want the investigation. That will not be sufficient enough.
Your wound. I get it.
And I'm going beyond that.
But it's the beginning.
Of course it's the beginning, but that's why I support this Building What campaign.
Bob McIlvaine, we thank you. Tony Zambati, thank you very much. It is an intriguing topic. I certainly am much more open-minded about it than I was, and it is because of the involvement of the 9/11 families and all these engineers and architects. Clearly, they know more than I do. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I don't know. That was a Fox News segment.
Okay. Whoever that host was really annoying.
Geraldo Rivera, so it makes sense.
Okay, so a lot of the arguments, and we're gonna jump from this to the next one I want to talk about, but the argument behind it is it's all about what's the sketchy science behind it. Like, okay, steel doesn't melt. It takes a lot of heat for it to melt, and a lot of people who don't believe in the official story say that, well, steel had to melt for these buildings to come down. That's what a lot of argument is, and it's all about the science doesn't make sense to a lot of people who believe in these who don't believe in the official story. Okay, so let's take that into the next story that I want to talk about, and is I don't think I could get an argument against this. It's probably the biggest event in terms of conspiracy theorists out there, and is the JFK assassination. Another event that for people who don't believe the official story, which is Oswald acted alone, that one of the things that comes from is the science doesn't make sense. The official story doesn't make sense.
No,
just like with the 9/11. For people who don't believe the official story, that's the same thing. The science doesn't make sense. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about JFK now. We're going to sort of come from 9/11 to JFK, and it's going to make sense. So the official story with JFK assassination was Oswald from the window from the book depository took 3 shots. With those 3 shots, killed JFK, wounded Governor Connolly, and he acted alone. And then was killed. Was it the next day or I can't forget how many days after by Jack Ruby? A couple of days after by Jack Ruby, when he's coming out of he was in police custody. So that's the official story. And he acted alone.
Right.
Now, people who don't believe that official story, one of the things that comes up is the science is sketchy. You hear stories about people who were there. It says, well, they didn't hear 3 shots. There was more than 3 shots. Or that the 3 shots couldn't have done all the damage that it did. That there had to be more than 3 shots. And that there was more than 3 shots, then there had to be at least a second shooter. At least a second shooter, if not more. Because the science doesn't back up it being only 3 shots.
We got I don't have it in front of me, but what is it? First shot misses, and then the next 2 cause 7 wounds, right?
Yeah, something like that. And the third shot was the fatal shot, was the headshot.
Actually, the first shot missed, and was it James Teague?
James Teague, and then
the face.
The second shot was
standing on the curb, and then I don't know. I think the
second shot was the throat shot to JFK, and it hit. I think that's the one that hit Connolly, and then the third shot was the fatal shot.
We had 2. The second 2 shots caused 7 wounds, I believe.
Yeah,
according to the Warren Commission.
And then the third shot was the fatal shot.
Apparently, they were ricocheting all over the place.
Yeah.
But that sounds a little crazy.
And then the third shot was the headshot, and that's what ultimately killed him. Essentially blew his head apart.
Marshall, what do you think happened?
9/11.
So you think 9/11 has to do with JFK? That
I don't know.
Bush went back in time.
We got you on a bad day.
I'm tired.
Marshall's just tired of all the unofficial bullshit.
It's all bullshit. It is, dude.
And that's what got him so tired. He's tired of hearing.
He's tired of not getting the truth.
And it makes him really, really tired.
Physically
It gets him really physically
exhausted.
He's just physically exhausted from all the bullshit.
Okay, let me live this up again. I'm not looking at anything, by the way. This is probably wrong, right? I think. So JFK's cruising. He's
just cruising down.
He's just cruising
down the street with this chick, right? He's minding his own business. He's cruising with this chick.
He's got his honey.
Yeah, he's got his honey right next to him.
Marilyn Monroe's not in the car. They're going down.
He's got his homeboy in the front with Governor Connolly.
Houston, and what's the street called?
I forgot.
I don't remember the street, but anyway, we've been there. But
yeah.
It's a small street.
It is weird, it
looks like a little video game,
Yeah, it's funny because I had never been until I think we went last year, and all that area is really small. It's smaller than I thought.
Yeah.
When you physically go there, it's smaller than what you think.
I was drunkenly walking in the streets, and I'm looking at the building at 4:00 in the morning.
It really is smaller than you think. It's really compressed. So all the stuff that happened, it really happened on top of each other. It's crazy how small it is.
Okay.
For anybody who has the ability to go, I would suggest going because it's really interesting to see it with your own eyes, being there. I think everybody who goes there, it's funny. It's people maybe I can figure this out. I think everybody has that idea in their mind. I think I could figure it out. I'll be the one who figures this out.
You got that Bill Hicks joke where he says he took the JFK tour. He goes, "It's exactly they left it exactly how it was when Kennedy was assassinated." He goes, "Oswald's not even there."
Nice,
but yeah. No, I think Oswald was a CIA informant on some level. You don't have to be smart. You just have to be what do they call him, an asset?
Yeah.
You just have to do what they tell you. I mean, he might have hated Kennedy.
In fact, I think
he was crazy enough.
In fact, if you take it like that, you don't have to be smart. Actually, it's better that if you're not smart,
right?
Because you don't ask questions.
You just take a guy that wants to be part of it.
Yeah, want to be part of something big?
Yeah, he already
go out and do something with yourself.
I mean, he was already pretty well known. He hated Kennedy. I mean, he spoke openly about how he hated Kennedy.
And then that was one of the things is it made it plausible that he could have done it because he was very anti-Kennedy.
I mean, he comes in the
pro Cuba, and all that.
Well, yeah, you got that picture with him in the newspaper that his wife wife's still up in Dallas.
Yeah.
She's
Is she?
alive. Yeah,
Is she officially in Dallas?
She's alive.
Okay.
She's in Dallas.
Okay.
Or Fort Worth. I think it's Dallas.
Okay.
But, yeah, she won't talk to anybody about anything.
Understandably.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they've gotten some quotes from her, and she believes that he was working for the CIA. She was saying there was something I was watching where they said that just the week or two before that he was hanging around with a guy, and they were poor. I mean, they were not.
Yeah.
They were struggling. He was like paying for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, she was kind of dumbfounded about why this guy was, why does he care about us? Why is he being so nice? Why is he buying, paying our bills?
Yeah, there's always,
nobody's
just nice.
giving us money.
Yeah.
And he just said it was just a friend that he had met, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then you go up, and then we got, back in, was it 64, right?
Yeah.
And he came in the room, and they said he was holding I guess it was the gun, which was a piece of shit. Do you know what it was, Mark?
Wasn't it? You're talking about the gun that he used?
Yeah.
It was like an Italian.
What was it? A piece of shit.
Yeah, I
But anyway.
But I know it was Italian. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that great.
They asked him what he was carrying. He said it was curtain rods. I think he really did bring that gun up to the 7th floor. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. I think it's not.
And he really did bring the gun up, in my opinion. But I don't think he fired the shot.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the testimonies, what did they say? He was on the 2nd floor lunchroom when this happened.
Yeah.
I think the gun was. I mean, they found the gun up there,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the guy that pulled the trigger was the same one I said was, LBJ's guy, which is Mac Wallace, which is that fingerprint they found up in the cardboard box.
Mm-hmm.
But that didn't come out till like the 70s,
Right.
because I guess I don't know. I just think it's impossible. They said he was on the 2nd floor lunchroom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, because one of the stories is people who saw him eating lunch, they said he was really calm.
Right. I think he knew what was going to happen.
And for people who
I think he was just like, hey, bring this gun up.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. So
we brought it up.
for people who are into the theory is, well, why would he be so calm? And one is like, well, because he didn't know what happened. All he was told is you got to do this, and then he didn't take the shot. So obviously that's the reason he's calm. That he didn't do the shot. He didn't take the shot. And he literally doesn't know what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think Mac Wallace fired the shots from up there.
Mm-hmm.
We've heard different things. I think there was, at the very minimum, 3 shooters, even though we talked to a couple of people that were JFK experts.
Yeah.
They think there was like, what did
9
they say?
shots?
11.
9 to 11 shots, yeah.
9 to 11 shots as opposed to 3, which seems like a lot to me, but...
Yeah.
Yeah,
but even among them, there was one guy who said he didn't. He asked him, like, "You think there was 11?" He goes,
Yeah, and it's true. It's like if you look at some of the pictures of with a motorcade, and you got LBJ a couple of cars behind, he really is like he's got his head down. It's funny if you really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, if you want to theorize that he did it or not did it, but conspired, helped.
Yeah.
And we have this infamous meeting with the oil guy the night before.
Yeah. I forget. I knew that.
Yeah, it's got LBJ. It's got his mistress. It's got J. Edgar Hoover was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, LBJ's mistress. What's her name? Linda LaRoche. And she said that he told him after tomorrow, these motherfucking Kennedys will never bother me again.
Yeah.
And. That's what she claims. I mean, I don't see why she would make that up. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about more.
The exit wound. It's a big one.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit of the science, and then we'll move on from that. Okay. So I think one of the more interesting things that came out not too long ago, and it's something that really hadn't come out until recently. I don't know how many years ago. Okay. So the second shot, the magic bullet theory, which was
I don't remember. Did they say the second or third shot was the head wound?
The third shot was the head. That was the fatal shot. Okay, so I think
that's the one where all the idiots go out in the street on the X.
Yeah.
like us.
Yeah.
Take my picture.
Yeah.
It's funny is like people run out. There's a big X on the street where he was shot. It's really dangerous.
That's really dangerous. 'Cause there's traffic.
It's a highway entrance.
It is a highway entrance. Yeah, people don't realize that street is a highway entrance. Yeah.
There's gonna be another fucking X there someday. I swear to God.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the second bullet, which is the magic theory, a magic bullet theory, which is it's a shot that hit Kennedy in the throat, and it entered Connolly, and it hit Connolly in the wrist. Okay, so if Connolly's sitting directly,
Connolly to this day believes it was a conspiracy. I know he's not. I don't believe he's alive anymore.
he's
No. To this day, but I'm saying later.
He believed it was a.
He didn't name anything, but he said that he didn't feel good that day about what was going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. So the second bullet, if Connolly's sitting right in front of Kennedy, and at the angle of where the gunshot came from, it entered Kennedy, and then I think it would have to go right, and then enter Connolly, and then take a left and hit his left wrist. So it had to do a lot of weird, funky stuff for it to. If Connolly is sitting right in front of Kennedy, right? So for years, that was the magic bullet. It did all this funky stuff for it to do all that damage. And you see how many wounds it caused?
I believe 7.
7 wounds. Okay, so it caused 7 wounds. Okay, so what came out recently was, and it was something that people hadn't thought about, but it's been proven that Connolly wasn't sitting in a regular seat. If you look at the vehicle, what they did is to create a special jump seat, like on a plane. It's not a regular seat. It's just a temporary seat. Because if you look at the pictures, you see the Kennedys in the back.
They had never paraded him, and he was on a tour.
He was on a tour, yeah.
They never paraded him around like that.
No.
I'm saying not that slow, that open.
Yeah, because if you look at the street, the way they have to slow down a lot for him to make that left turn.
Right.
Okay, so let's get back to the scene. Okay, so what came out recently, and people hadn't really thought about it, is that limousine actually that car had a special jump seat. So you had the Kennedys in the back, and then you had the front where the driver was at, and then you had the Connollys in the middle. They created a special jump seat for the Connollys between the back and the front. So essentially, Connolly wasn't sitting right in front of Kennedy. He was sitting more to Kennedy's left and down.
Back and to the left.
So when you sit Connolly in the position to where the jump seat is, that bullet doesn't have to do all those crazy twists and turns to create all those. Yeah, in fact, it's a straight line. So in reality, it enters Kennedy's throat, and it's a direct shot through Connolly's chest and into his left wrist. And if you position him in that jump seat, that bullet is a straight line. And that's what came out recently. That this magic bullet really wasn't a magic bullet.
All right. Did you load this gun with regular bullets or magic bullets?
Because we need a magic bullet for this. Okay, so there's the second bullet, right? Okay, so then you got the third bullet. And Marshall, I think you could jump into this because you're more of a gun expert. Okay, so the third bullet, which was the headshot, right? Mm-hmm. So if you look at the footage, and it's clear on the footage, his head smacks back, right? But that third bullet officially is supposed to come from the back of his head.
He's basically saying the hole coming out is bigger than the hole going in, right?
Yeah, so you're a gun expert, Marshall. You're an official gun expert.
Not a gun expert, he's just a guy that likes guns.
You shot a gun from time to time. Okay, so
how many guys have you shot in the head, and what have you seen usually?
Usually explode.
Okay, so what do you think about that shot? You've seen the footage, right?
So apparently it came from behind,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
According,
it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, because his head smacks back, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you would think it looks like it came from the front, which is the whole grassy knoll thing.
You got the turn. He's going away. You're basically hitting him, according to the one report, on the top right of his.
The top right of his head. Yeah.
Yeah. But the exit wound was so big on the top left of his head that it would imply that he was shot.
It was an exit wound. Yeah. A lot of people theorize it was an exit wound.
He was shot from the front. Yeah.
Right. Right, Marshall?
Yeah. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
In the video.
Yeah.
You got.
Okay. So you got that, right? Okay. So I remember reading not too long ago about your nerves. Like you have nerves in your head that can explode from time to time if you have blunt trauma. Which I would, I don't think I would disagree. A gunshot wound is blunt trauma, right?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
A little bit.
Okay, they're talking to. I read an article not too long ago, talking to people who know about bodies and shit, and they say when nerves explode.
Talking to people who know about bodies and shit.
So when nerves explode,
What's your expertise in bodies and shit?
right? I think that was his official title, like expert of bodies and
Bodies
shit.
and shit.
So he's talking about nerves exploding in the body, and especially in the head, and it does create a big shock. So there's this theory of why his head snapped back. If he got shot from the back, why did his head snap back? Well, there's theories. It hit a nerve, the nerve exploded, so you see his head go down forward and then snap back.
Right.
And the theory is, well, when the nerve exploded, that's what made his head snap back.
Yeah.
The nerve was exploding,
And I can see that. I mean,
and it makes sense.
yeah.
If you want to look at the other side, it makes sense.
Well, nobody can see this at home, but these are pictures of people that saw Kennedy's body, all doctors, describing the exit wound. You really think, and they're all pointing to the top back left of the head. I'm saying you don't forget seeing the President of the United States dead.
Yeah.
With a hole in his head.
Yeah.
It's something you're going to remember.
That's gross.
So we got 14 doctors here. 14, or at least 14 people that were in the autopsy room describing the exit wound.
Yeah,
And they're all of them.
Did they all
100%.
die?
A large chunk of them
Yeah, I remember.
died within the
it's not
first
the same
couple
magazine
years.
as you're looking into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would assume by this point they're probably all dead, but more than half of them died quickly.
Okay.
That's another. I can't even get into the numbers. If you look at the suspicious death, it's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So
It's insane.
so like there's a lot of people like and there's a reason I was talking about the science earlier.
And somebody came up. Remember, somebody came up with the odds of those people.
Yeah,
being
all of them
connected
dying.
and
Yeah, exactly,
and it'd be
yeah.
like winning the Powerball like eight weeks in a row.
yeah.
That's the odds of them dying.
Yeah. Okay, so earlier when we were talking about 9/11, we were talking about the science, and then we translated into transitioned to JK with the science. Okay, so we got the science, and that's one of the biggest things people use to say, well, it doesn't seem right? It seems fishy, the science, and that's all interesting and all. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about conspiracy theories more in general. Okay, so why
Are we off at Kennedy?
No, we could still be on a Kennedy. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, John. Why do you think conspiracy theories are so I don't want to say popular, but why do you think people are there's some people who gravitate towards conspiracy theories? Let's talk about the Kennedy theory. Why, what is it about conspiracy theories that attracts people? Like, I'm asking you a question.
I think people gravitate towards those things.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I'm trying to word this right. I think they gravitate towards those things because they can't really say you can't accept the truth, or you can't accept something.
The official story. Let's just say the official story.
Okay, you can't accept the official story.
Mm-hmm.
You could say that.
Why do you think people can't accept sometimes the official story?
Well, I don't know. But you can say, hold on, you give yours. I'm kind of trying to jumble my thoughts because I've heard some that
for me
that counteract. No, but okay, yeah, go.
Okay, for me, like
stop, go.
Like for me, okay,
you're like my monkey,
right? Like for me, okay. Let's take the JFK story, the official story. Okay, so the official story is his long nut killed the president of the United States. This guy who by accounts wasn't that smart, right?
Right.
Wasn't that smart with a really crappy Italian. We already said it was a shitty gun. He was able to kill the president of the United States, one of the most charismatic presidents we've ever had. people who loved him. He was able to kill this president, and then he was killed by a nightclub owner, and that's the official story. So like my thing is why people are attracted to conspiracy. Think about the official story. Okay, so you got this lone nut who killed him. A lot of people it's hard to accept that the official story of that. Is it that easy to kill the president of the United States? A guy who's not that smart with a shitty gun. He's crazy and he kills our leader that easily.
Right.
Some people, it can't register in their mind. So of course not. Of course our president can't. There has to be more to it than that. So people's minds start thinking about, okay, that doesn't make sense. There's no way it can be that easy. There is no way that's the official story. There has got to be more. There's got to be some type of crazy machinations going on in the background that killed our president. There has to be. There just has to be. There's no way it could be that easy.
But you know what? A lot of the people that discard them haven't really looked at the ones that turned out to be very, very true.
What do you mean?
There's some stuff that we can prove.
No, but what do you mean by that? Like
a lot of people that discard the idea of conspiracy, I'm saying, don't really look at. We just go back. I mean, let's just go back to 2002 or whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, we could say, they told us there were weapons of mass destruction. Mm-hmm. Lie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
was a lie.
That was a lie. Yeah.
We had I don't know.
That was a total lie. Yeah, there wasn't
at the beginning of I don't say the beginning. I think it was because he only had the first term. It was I think it was 1963 when they put the Operation Northwoods on JFK's desk.
Yeah,
and that included bombing U.S. buildings and bringing down a couple of U.S. commercial airliners.
Yeah.
And they put that on JFK's desk, and he told them to fuck off.
Yeah,
and he didn't do it. This was a real CIA written up proposal for JFK to sign, and they were gonna take down U.S. airliners, commercial airliners, so we could go right into Cuba. We're gonna blame it on the Cubans.
Yeah,
and I'm saying this was declassified in the 70s.
Yeah, you got Operation Mongoose, who was find out that it was trying to take out Castro.
Right.
You had
got that what is it? Something K Ultra. Marshall, who's joining us again. Hey, what is that? Was it MK Ultra? I don't know. Put that in Google. MK Ultra. We got time here. MK Ultra turned out to be something kind of messed up.
Project MK Ultra, which is CIA's mind control program.
Right, and we were giving.
It's the thing behind the Manchurian candidate stuff. Like it's mind control stuff. Yeah.
We were just giving regular people LSD. Not telling him and just giving him LSD. There's another one where we're giving him syphilis, and like hundreds and hundreds of people died.
Yeah,
we were just giving him syphilis because we didn't know what syphilis was. We're like, hey, we're just gonna give him syphilis and see what happens.
Yeah.
And they were passing it on to each other.
You're talking about also, if you want to go even back farther, the Tuskegee Airmen, where we're essentially we're giving diseases just to see how it worked.
Right. I'm saying there's stuff that turns out to be true. We have Gulf of Tonkin.
Yeah, Gulf of Tonkin, which was declassified.
Which was
who shot first? Yeah, and it was us.
Which was actually wherever that Gulf on the right. Yeah. It's like wherever it is on that map.
Yeah.
I mean that turned out to be 100% true.
Yeah.
Not 100% true, but I'm saying 100% false. Basically.
Yeah. It was declassified in 2005, I think, and it was the whole thing. The thing of who shot first. It was us who shot first. We fucked up.
Well, actually, our ships were resting peacefully.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything. We didn't do anything.
Yeah.
We said that we were attacked.
Yeah. And that's what we shot back. Yeah.
And people don't know that was the last straw that got us into Vietnam.
Yeah.
And that killed way more people than 9/11.
Yeah.
And we knew that was going to kill. We knew we couldn't win that war.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that turned out to be another lie.
Yeah.
So I'm saying when people, I think people are more comfortable knowing that people outside are trying to hurt them than people inside are trying to hurt them. Mm-hmm. But it's not a complete that's what I'm saying. You can't just dismiss shit. It's, I mean, if you look at the stuff that turned out 100% true, like the last 3 or 4 things we talked about, 100% accurate. We can't disprove them. I mean, they're there. So I'm just saying. So for somebody, but I think like today, and in fact, if you take a poll, I think it's something over 70 something percent will say JFK, or let's say Oswald did not act alone today. Yeah. If you take a poll on 9/11, it's probably, actually, I'm not saying probably. They're all over the place, but it's probably like 10%. But if you say people don't believe the entire 9/11 Commission report, it's something higher, probably like 30% maybe.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that they think we did it. It just means that they think there's some
They just don't think the official story
they
is
think there's
true.
some inconsistencies, including the people that fucking wrote it. Some of the people that wrote it, and I'm not saying some, like 6 of them, more. I don't have the numbers again. This is the Malarkey Hour. Look it up.
Yeah.
They said this was set up to fail, and they're actually ashamed. There's 28 pages right now that were declassified. Yeah. I think. Or they call it, what's that word, redacted? Yeah. That they say were taken out or whatever. And they have 2 of the lead commissioners on the 9/11 report that said they're embarrassed to be part of this. And the reason that they've said that they're not out there is because it would cause anger and embarrassment for Americans. Yeah. What the fuck does that mean? Yeah, what does that even mean? Anger and embarrassment? Okay. Yeah. Well, I think we can handle that at this point. Yeah, yeah. So show us 28 pages. Like, that's bullshit.
And let's go back to, let's talk about you talking about reports.
The funding is what I think it is.
So let's look at all the official, the big investigations. You got the Warren Commission, which investigated JFK. You got the 9/11 Commission. And then let's go away from the government. Let's even do like sports. Okay, so we got the recent in the NFL. The whole just recently in the Super Bowl, the whole Deflategate.
That's technically, if we're correct, I think that's the definition of a conspiracy.
Okay. So what do a lot of these?
Do you remember I mentioned that like 2 hours after the Super Bowl because I was just mad I lost all that money. And, I was just
lost a lot of. John lost a lot. I don't know how he's even able to afford to be alive right now. Shut up. John lost a lot of money. I'm surprised you're even wearing pants right now. Like I thought you lost your pants in the Super Bowl.
I got these from a guy down the street for a deal. Actually, I won these pants. On an NBA
the next night,
on an NBA D-League game.
So go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What were we talking about?
You're saying you said even after the Super Bowl, that's what you were talking about.
Because we went to the movies. Yeah. We had a date after the Super Bowl.
As tradition, every year we had a date after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because I was so mad. I was like, I don't even want to drink. I just want to let's go to the movies or something. Yeah. What the hell do we see?
That's not important.
Project Almanac. Yeah. That was okay.
That was okay. Yeah.
Right. Let's get into time travel.
Right. You want to get the time travel? We'll transition to the next podcast.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But anyway, remember up before the movie started, they didn't want Lynch to win the game.
That's what I brought that up too. Just for fucking around.
That's all we could think of. They didn't want Lynch to win the game.
Right.
It was the most logical thing to come up with. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Which it's natural. It happens when okay. So not to get too into it, but people's like, why didn't it fucking run it? So like all Sonic, when you have that dissonance, people it goes into conspiracy. Like, okay, there's got to be a reason why they didn't run it. It's the most obvious thing.
2 Seahawk players
so you get
anonymously came out and said they think that's true.
Yeah, and you get to this conspiracy theory because
that's a natural. Lynch, I would not resign.
That's a natural human thing in your mind. It's like when you can't grapple like why wouldn't they do this? You get into like, there's got to be a reason behind it. Well, they don't want Lynch to win. They wanted Wilson to be the hero, and that's the reason they passed. That's the only fucking reason that they could pass. It was the most obvious thing, but Lynch.
It wasn't all or nothing. Worst case scenario, you don't gain anything.
Yeah.
You had 3 more downs to do it.
So that's what happens. It creates.
If it was the last play of the game, I would understand. 3 downs, don't understand. Never will.
Okay, so
he was piling over people on the 11 or 12 yard line I'm just saying to
No,
get.
no.
I'm just saying. Yeah, you think that was an important down for the Patriots?
Okay.
It was.
Okay, so to pull back from that, and
You're trying to raise my blood pressure.
okay, so one of the things that all those commissions had in common is they were really close. Like people that headed a lot of these commissions, a lot of these committees that to investigate the stuff, they're really close to the body. So you had the Warren Commission, you had the 9/11, you had even the NFL. Like they all know the people involved.
What was the man? I want to go back to Kennedy because this is the one that trips me out.
Go ahead.
I think it was an NBC reporter that got to interview Jack Ruby.
Oh yeah.
She died like less than a week later, and she was quoted. She wouldn't divulge any information, and she was quoted with saying that she said, "This is crazy." She goes, she said, "It's crazy," and she goes, "I'm about to blow this whole thing wide open." Marshall makes a mess.
So we can't take you anywhere, Marshall.
But good thing you got that case on your phone.
Yeah.
Let me see how well it works.
I saw. Works quite well.
But yeah, anyway, she died mysteriously.
Who?
I don't know her name. I was saying I think it was an NBC reporter.
That you're talking about the one that interviewed Jack Ruby.
Yeah, Jack Ruby. She interviewed him in prison.
Oh yeah,
and you know what's funny? If you think about it, Jack Ruby might have been the best interview, even better than Oswald, because it went down. Why did Jack Ruby and Oswald turned out? There were close ties between them. They'd known each other for years.
Wait. What are you talking about? Jack Ruby and who?
Oswald.
Yeah, there was that, and then Jack. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
No, well, I mean, Jack Ruby killed Oswald, but no, they were saying there was no connection until, they proved they knew each other very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he ran a little shitty burlesque nightclub or whatever it was.
Yeah, in Dallas. Yeah.
Yeah, and Jack Ruby and Oswald had known each other for years. Mm-hmm. I mean, years. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is not that's not a theory that's come out, and it's just saying Ruby might have been the most interesting person. I know he died in prison of cancer, supposedly.
Yeah.
But if it goes, he's at the top of the chain. It's like, well, why'd you kill Oswald?
Yeah.
He knew something.
The reportage is just for people. It's Dorothy Kilgallen. She died from alcohol and barbiturates.
Yes. Yeah. Nobody in her circle, her family or friends, ever even thought she had a problem. Never thought she was into drugs or alcohol. And then all of a sudden she's overdosing?
Yeah, from barbiturates and alcohol.
It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't just fucking, drugs. Dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much fun.
Yeah.
Dead.
Yeah. Yeah,
No,
and
she got probably the interview of the century.
She interviewed him inside the Dallas courthouse. Yeah.
Yes. She got him inside after he was arrested. And I still wonder what Ruby's motivation was. And I think
one of the things that came out that he said was that he didn't want the first lady to have the embarrassment of going through a trial. That was one thing I think he said. He was
not a proud man, from what I've heard, though. I'm saying, I think there was some sort of threat against the people that were close to him. And that's why we're going to kill you.
Get rid of this,
or we're going to kill everyone you love and you.
Get rid of this liability.
Or you can kill Oswald, look like an American hero.
Yeah. Kill this liability.
And
if you believe in the theory, he will be a liability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
knows too much.
You just became they weren't thinking conspiracy back in 1964. You just became the hero of America. Yeah. You just killed the guy that killed the most likable president that we might have ever had.
Yeah.
And that's a better alternative than we're gonna kill everybody you know and everybody you love, and then we're gonna kill you. Or you can look like a hero and go to jail.
You know what's scary? That's exactly how the voice sounded that talked to Ruben. John onto something.
Right.
And you know what? And
I'm
I
not
think,
that old.
And then you know what? The thing that comes from that era, and it's crazy. You start hearing about like stuff that actually came out that's true. Look at the Nixon era. Like, you hear about Nixon's fucking... Well, he was a psychopath. You hear about him... What was that reporter he hated? And he almost had him killed. There's a reporter who, like, wrote bad stuff about Nixon. And it came out that Nixon, one of his goons that he always used, he was going to kill this reporter. I forget his name.
This is news to me.
You never heard that?
No.
What was the reporter's name?
Outside of Watergate, I haven't really studied Nixon too much.
Yeah, it came out, it was true that Nixon was...
I just figure every president has to be a psychopath to get to be president.
No, there is that theory that you have to have
I want to be the most powerful man in the world. Like, that's just, like, complex.
There is, that you have to have a certain mindset to want to be president, to even win.
Zoe Barnes.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey's psycho.
The guy name was Jack Anderson.
Okay.
He was a Pulitzer Prize winner for national reporting, and it came out that names that you would recognize as to your favorite names: George G. Gordon Liddy and E. Howard Hunt, who were they call them White House plumbers, and that they were.
Howard Hunt was in that position for so long.
Yeah, and they were sort of Nixon's goons. That
LBJ actually said, this is a quote. He said, "That man knows too much."
Yeah,
and it's
So it came out in '72 that Nixon, he didn't like Anderson, and that he was a target of an assassination plot. Nixon wanted him killed.
Right.
And he was going to use G. Gordon Liddy and E. Howard Hunt, which is names that you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they were going to drug. No, okay,
what do you think about E. Howard Hunt and this alleged confession?
I think it's true. I think it's true that he said it.
Oh, there's it's not even a question that he said it. There's video that I'm saying of him saying the words that are recorded.
Yeah.
Some people say his son's out for profit. Maybe he is. It was like Saint something Hunt. I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
But yeah, he confesses that this was the plot to kill Kennedy. It was called the Big Event.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, so what came out with the Anderson thing was that apparently these two guys, like I said, they're Nixon's goons. They met with CIA operatives, and they were gonna try to drug Anderson, the reporter, with LSD, poisoning his aspirin bottle, or even like staging a mugging. And that's how he was killed. Right. So when you hear stuff about like during that era, like, and this is true. I mean, a lot of these stories that we talked about, other ones with during this era, they're true. It came out that they're true. So of course, the JFK assassination, the doubts actually start becoming more and more plausible.
Right.
That it wasn't a lone nut, and it goes into where I was saying, why do people believe in this? It's because some of these stories, they becomes from a simple things. Like, there's no way it's this simple to where it's this great conspiracy behind the scenes. So, okay, that makes more sense to a lot of people, and that's the reason it's so popular to think this.
Right, but I think you can reverse it, and that's the thing that I was trying to get to earlier, where I couldn't quite word it right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, they're just a bunch of geeks, losers that can't get a girl that spend all their time, trying to devise conspiracy theories. Mm-hmm. And I think, you can say, okay, that's that guy, and then there's the other guy. It's like, okay, he also believes in conspiracy theories. I go, but you know what? Maybe he's smart.
Yeah.
I go, maybe he's actually looked at the stuff that really we can prove is true.
Yeah.
And he just questions everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I say this is what happened. I go, this is what could have happened. Yeah. I'm the could have guy.
Yeah.
And I don't always say, like, I'm not going to say a missile hit the Pentagon. I'm not going to say, I mean, there's certain things that I'm fairly confident about, like Lee Harvey Oswald. I don't think he acted alone. I think that's fucking bullshit. Mm-hmm. But I thought that since I was a little kid, because of my dad.
Yeah.
Again, had to watch The Men Who Killed Kennedy all the time. That
was
the big series.
But I mean, that was common Sunday night viewing here at your house. You told me that
it was a VHS set with like
every Sunday night at 9:30.
Yeah.
Your dad would gather everybody around the TV, pop it in, and the whole family would watch it with popcorn every Sunday night.
If I were to tell my dad right now, which I have, if I were to say, hey, I think I say, hey, Dad, I think 9/11 is an inside job, he'd be like, there, son, calm down. But he might be a little open to it. But no, the Kennedy thing, he was so absolute about it. Like growing up, like I was.
What do you think he would do if you told him, I think Lee Harvey Oswald left that alone? Would he think he would hit you? He would punch you out?
Yeah.
It'd be such a disgrace to your family.
I don't think I'd be allowed around my family anymore.
He disowns you.
Yeah, my parents are very, very convinced that Lee Harvey Oswald was a patsy.
If your family had what do they do? Those family crest, like if they had a crest.
Funny, if you look at the shit though, it seems like you almost feel like the people, and I don't feel this way about 9/11. I don't feel this way about the moon landing. Creepers. I think we landed on the fucking moon. I think it's real. But
well, I think I think
the
science behind the moon landing, a lot of people like they try to discredit it. It's very you could discredit their stuff, like, oh, you can't see the stars. Well, if you know anything about photography, you can't see the stars. It's common knowledge. Like if you have to expose for the foreground. You're not gonna be able to see a star fucking light years away. You can't. It's just simple photography. That's the reason you can't see the stars. So, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm not doubting the moon landing.
I think the moon landing, the conspiracy, it's a lot less credible.
The moon landing, we had the budget, we had the technology.
I heard a great. What's his name? What's the scientist we always hear now in the news? What's his name?
Bill
Tyson.
Yeah, Tyson. He said it was
Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
Neil deGrasse Mike Tyson.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. He said it would be a lot harder to fake the moon landing than to actually go. It would take a lot more to fake it than to actually go to the moon. It's a lot easier just to go to the moon, and that makes sense. And he's a lot smarter than I am, so I believe him.
Who's still alive, Neil Armstrong or Buzz Aldrin?
I think they're both. Buzz Aldrin's still alive because he punched a guy not too long ago who yelled at him like, "You didn't land on the moon," and he actually took a swing at the guy.
You just landed on the ground, motherfucker.
So I know he's still alive. I don't know about Neil Armstrong. He might be dead.
No,
I can't remember.
he died. Actually, he just died in 2012.
Neil Armstrong.
Yeah.
Buzz
Aldrin's alive.
Yeah, Buzz Aldrin's still alive and kicking. He could.
You know what's funny?
It's a good right hook.
I think you've seen it. Buzz Aldrin. It sounds like he believes in aliens for sure.
Yeah, he talks about them.
Like he saw him and shit up in space.
No, he basically he doesn't even hint at it. It's almost like he just implies like.
Well, they say that they saw stuff following the. Their craft, whenever they're going to the moon, there was something following them.
I think astronauts are interesting just because, like, you hear stories about, like, that's this phenomenon only astronauts have where they see Earth from space, and they have this thing where it's like they can't. It bothers them because they sort of see how small we are.
Yeah.
I forget what's called officially, but like every astronaut has this sort of effect that's gone up in space and seen Earth from space, and they get this. Like, I don't know. I can't. I couldn't even get close to explaining it, but
yeah, I mean it's the same thing. Like when you talk to somebody, it's like I was at the Venetian and this hooker was doing these crazy tricks and blah blah blah. And it's like, well, I've never been to the Venetian. I was like, well, you don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of. You have to be there. Like when somebody tries to tell you a funny story, and it's not funny unless you were there. Like same thing with astronaut. Like you don't get it.
And then he died. You're like, wait.
Yeah. So like,
why is this funny?
I always found people who've gone into space like interesting. It's just they've done stuff that not a lot of people have done. Like the percentage of people alive that have gone into space it's crazy.
Yeah.
So Buzz Aldrin, great red hook.
We go back to JFK real quick.
Let's wrap it up. So
we'll wrap it up. The two things that I've always said was they get to Parkland Hospital, and JFK's head's already fucked up. If he has a pulse at all, right?
Yeah.
And the main Secret Service operative guy, Secret Service, whatever guy, is ordered to wash down the limousine.
Yeah.
Completely from the inside, the outside,
Before they had time,
wash all the blood off, blah, 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 blah. That, basically he destroyed the crime scene of basically the biggest crime in U.S. history. Yeah. It's just been destroyed ordered to be destroyed.
Yeah.
And other shit. But that's a big one for me. It's a real big one for me. The other one that I was gonna hint at
Well,
was,
maybe
was the main
the guy's just neat, and he's just like this OCD thing. He's like, we gotta get this clean. It's bothering
then
me.
he
There's
should-
so much blood. I was like, ugh.
Well, then he should be held accountable for that. The other thing was the main doctor, I don't have his name, who actually was in charge of the autopsy before they brought the body out. I'm sorry, after they brought the body out. Because it was the president. It's illegal, apparently, to take a body. You know, like if I kill you right now, we're in Texas. The autopsy has to be performed here in Texas. If there's an autopsy done. This was in Texas, again. And they didn't do the autopsy till they got over there and back to Washington. And when they did the autopsy, the doctor who was in charge had never done an autopsy on a bullet wound in his life, ever. And that is a fact. Those are both facts. The washdown of the limousine and the doctor had never done an autopsy on a human being who had suffered a bullet wound, you know, fatally or whatever.
He only done cow stabbings.
No, but
That was his expertise, cow stabbings.
Isn't that fucking nuts? If those two things are
Yeah, I know, I've heard
those
that
two
before.
things are 100% true.
Yeah, I heard that before. Yeah,
We got the biggest crime in U.S. history.
the United States president.
Hey, how about you, man?
Like, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, there's only been 4 presidents assassinated, and this is the first. Like, this is the only modern president to ever be assassinated. And you're gonna
We have it on film.
you have it on film.
Yeah,
Probably the most famous snuff film ever,
right.
and it is a snuff film.
Okay.
Yeah, and no, and I understand where you're trying to go with it. Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you accept those two things that are 100% true,
And that's the reason. And
washing the limousine down,
and that's my reason.
autopsy doctor. Oh, I've never done one of these before. Yeah, we'll pick you
I
for
see
the president of the United States.
I've seen plenty of cow stabbings, but never for a human.
I've seen you do cow stabbings.
Okay, so that goes
You
back.
don't want to hear what he does to the cows after the dead.
That goes back to my when I said that's the reason people believe in the theory, a conspiracy theory. It's so hard to imagine anything else. Like the official simple explanation. It's too outlandish. There's no way a single crazy guy who's not that smart could have planned all this and killed our president. There's no way.
Right.
It's got to be these crazy machinations going on in the background with CIA, maybe the mafia, maybe the government itself, maybe even the vice president itself.
Right.
It can't. There's no way a single guy did it. There's just no way, and that's the reason it's so popular to not believe the official story.
Right.
It makes sense. It makes sense why people think that.
Right. But you can accept it that way. Or you can 180 it the other way and say, you know what, this guy's too smart to accept it. And we just got the classic example of Brian Williams.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a conspiracy. I mean, not really. Oh, it's no. Okay, this is 100% true. From the 50s, 70s, they were the CIA was controlling the news.
Yeah.
They were basically the New York Times, all the big ones. And you can go back less than 24 months ago when you can say you can find this on Bill Maher, even though sometimes that son of a bitch pisses me off and I don't like him sometimes. He was even saying that the White House was controlling the New York Times and the Washington Post,
totally
and
right.
that came out.
Yeah.
That came out about less than 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And this is something Bill Maher wanted to talk about too. And I don't really like the guy all the time.
Somebody had him quieted.
Well,
Probably.
I'm just saying, like, no, even today. I mean,
I mean,
yeah, it's like
People believe the media.
You can print this, you can't print that. Well, today it's internet too.
Yeah.
You can show this, you can't show that. But I'm just saying, I still think they control it. Yeah. And even though we didn't get into it very deep, yes, the CIA runs drugs. The CIA runs weapons. I'm not saying that they control it all.
yeah.
But it why not? It's a secret economy.
Yeah.
We can fill some financial holes.
And that goes back to
And look
that goes back
at
to
all the dirty money that I'm saying that how much dirty money can we bring in to fill to fill the financial holes and bring it in as real money?
That goes back to what I was saying.
Like, you seen Shooter?
A shitter?
Shooter.
Oh, Shooter. Like a shitter? Yeah, I've seen plenty of shooters. Shooter, yeah, I've seen Shooter.
You remember the beginning scene with Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah, where he's shooting at the, yeah.
No, there's a part, man, I swear, he's checking his computer on the for news, and he goes, let's see what lies there are today.
Yeah.
And what is it about? He's being framed for some shit, right? Or he's being...
Yeah. There is a mission in the beginning where they fuck up, but he realized they fucked up on purpose, and they were trying to frame him for it. He was the patsy, essentially.
And this is something I had read that he wanted this, and he said, "Let's see what lies there are today." If you look at the frame shot, there's a copy of the 9/11 Commission report in the frame shot, just right there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, and you know what's funny? You look at what's the one he did recently? 2 Guns.
Yeah.
What's that about? It's about the CIA running drugs.
Yeah. Both of them were. Yeah, they didn't know about each other.
Yeah. But it is about the CIA running drugs.
Yeah, running drugs. Yeah, and that goes back to why people.
It's the movie,
would you rather believe that? Why are drugs be able to come into the United States so easily? Is it because people running are so smart, or is it because the government is letting them?
One of the biggest drug seizures in U.S. history. I don't know dates. They admitted that drugs went back out on the street.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Yeah.
How does that even happen? Yeah. We go back to that. We go to Fast and Furious. It's still. I think it's going on right now.
Fast and Furious
I don't think it
have so much truth in them.
I think the CIA is a fucking. They're like the mafia. They're like an organized.
Yeah.
They're like criminal organization.
So I mean, that's the force behind people not believing the official story. Because it's like it's either like the people in charge of the war on drugs are so incompetent they're letting all these drugs come in, or they're letting them. And that's, I mean, it's a simple truth.
We locked the door.
Yeah,
I don't know. The world's biggest drug seizure. I don't know how they got back on the street.
Yeah,
we're just the CIA.
So that's the reason. That's the reason it fuels the fire. Why people believe it? Why people don't believe in the fish story? Because it doesn't make sense for it to a lot of people.
They messed up Fast and Furious. Yeah, they sent thousands and thousands of guns over the fucking border.
Yeah.
Oh, did we forget to put those tracking chips in all the guns?
Yeah.
Whose job was that?
Just to be clear, when Junkie says Fast and Furious, he's not talking about Vin Diesel.
It's an operation. It's an operation.
Because he said it several times, and people are like, "Oh, he's talking about the movie. I love that movie.
All right.
I love this movie. Oh my god,
Fast and Furious.
I love drifting.
Yeah, we must drift.
Let's drift the whole movie."
Fast and Furious was an operation to throw guns over the border and track them down so we could catch bad guys.
Yes. So
we caught no bad guys.
Shitty operation. Okay, so let's start wrapping this up. So I mean, conspiracy theories are interesting to me. There's some I don't believe in. There's some I do. There's some I'm like, okay, it could be plausible. We'll never know until it comes out on each subject. There's some stuff that it's interesting. There's some theories that we didn't even realize it was even it wasn't even a conspiracy until it comes out that we're like, oh shit, I had no idea that what the official story was bullshit. Mm-hmm. And we finding it out, years later, like, oh shit, the official story was bullshit, and people had no idea.
Well, the thing that makes it more messed up is like, okay, you found that out. Most people still have no idea.
Oh yeah, about it because it doesn't make a big
give a shit.
Yeah, it doesn't make a big story. Yeah.
If I say Gulf of Tonkin to
nobody knows.
I think less than 10% of Americans would even know what that is.
What that is, yeah.
I say it's more like 5%.
Yeah, when they came out, it should have been bigger news. Than
and that was the thing that got us into Vietnam, and that was complete. That was worse than 9/11 as far as deaths.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So to me, it's just and we know 100% that was a false flag operation, which is I hate using that word because it's another word that
yeah, and it has this connotation that's crazy,
and I just let it come out, but yes, it is. And there's a quote by I forgot who it is. It goes, "Don't ever let a good tragedy go to waste."
Yeah.
I forgot which. I forgot. Yeah, somebody the up and ups.
It was like Churchill or something.
Because you know what, I'm not going to talk about Sandy Hook. Like you said that word earlier.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I think it's more plausible that it really happened. To be honest,
I think that people don't want to like to talk about it just because
it involves kids
yeah.
and guns.
So if you try to say anything about it, people they
and you know what? I'm gonna get off topic. This is something. You know, there was the big gun. This one, gun control's probably been at the highest, and was after Sandy Hook, and then we had the Colorado shooting. We had
all those things happened one right after another.
Yeah.
It was obviously all fake, I think.
Well,
just to push gun control.
I'm not gonna say that, but I'm gonna say that they definitely had a case to push gun control, no matter how it happened or what had happened.
Yeah.
And you know, we got it thrown out because so many people got mad. You remember Facebook or just like people, you know, they're not gonna take my guns.
Yeah.
And that was the first time people gave a shit about anything political for a long time. And it went away. It actually went away.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
Marshall loves his guns. Don't you dare take Marshall's guns away from him.
I will shoot you.
He will shoot you with his gun.
But how you gonna shoot you? How you gonna shoot me if I took your guns?
He just starts screaming. Oh my god! Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you know, like I get it. Like there's my thing. Okay, my thing always with conspiracy theories and with stories is like, okay, one makes more sense. What's the easiest explanation? You always gotta look at it.
You gotta take yourself back and say what makes more sense. You know, back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What made more sense the day Kennedy got shot?
Yeah.
What made more sense? You know, it didn't even probably make big news. The Gulf of Tonkin, you got shit like that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Yeah. What makes more sense now? You have to look. I think you got to look at history.
Yeah.
And there's not that much history to look at.
No.
But the ones that are true, we can prove they're true.
Yeah. It's sort of like, okay, you hear about like, I guess you could say conspiracy
We
theory.
let money control everything. We let money lets bad things happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is one that's just out there, but it's 100% true. You remember when Bear had the hemoglobin drug?
Oh, the one that it was contaminated or something.
It had AIDS in it.
It had AIDS.
A little bit of AIDS, a little bit of HIV.
Yeah, how does it happen?
And it was completely contaminated. They had manufactured so much of it.
Yeah.
So the FDA gets involved. They permit them to sell it overseas.
Yeah.
Just not here.
Yeah.
Infecting thousands of people with AIDS.
Yeah, I forget the number, but it was
And Bear, they're still on TV.
No, they don't talk about it.
I know.
It's like the Gulf of Tonkin. The reason why nobody knows about it is because they don't talk about it. Just like Building 7, the reason why nobody knows about Building 7 is because they don't talk about it.
Yeah, well, most people don't know that, when I say, it's funny, I just get in the habit of saying it was like they flew two airliners and knocked down 3 buildings.
Yeah.
And they're like, they didn't knock down 3 buildings.
Yeah.
Yo, according to the commission report, they did.
Yeah. Have you been to that website?
Well, that's a bit
about Building 7, and it shows like the statistics on like how many people actually know about it.
And that number we heard earlier,
or something.
that number we heard earlier with like what was it, 1,200? That's grown to like 20-something hundred. It's over 2,000 of architects and engineers that say no.
Yeah.
That say no. This is not how that happened because
that's on that website
too. It just, to me, that's the one thing that I'll concede as the weirdest part of 9/11 is Building 7.
Yeah.
It just looks weird, and there's so many credible people behind it that gain nothing financially that back it up.
Well, and that gets into the phenomenon of, like you said, a lot of people know about the third building. You ever notice okay, when somebody gets accused of something, right? Like say something really horrible, like child
I didn't
abuse.
touch that girl.
Something like that, right?
Oh, okay, we're not going there.
It makes headline news, whatever. Even if it makes headline news, right? Okay. Say so say, they get into an investigation, and say it isn't super big news, but it's big enough to make, I guess, a local newspaper, and somebody gets accused of something. And then, months, maybe a year later.
I thought she was 17.
Maybe a year later, you find out that the person accused of whatever crime, something really terrible, it's innocent. Does the fact that they were innocent make big news?
No.
No.
Usually the retraction isn't a big deal.
No, because that's bad news for our legal system.
Yeah. So what do people remember? Do people even go back to like, well, that wasn't true? You know? So that's why I say, like, being accused of anything is terrible, because even if you've proven to be innocent, people are never going to know, because people remember just that initial. People never go back to look.
Next week, we'll have George Zimmerman on.
So that's the down part of it. Like, if something's big and then nobody wants to, nobody reads the follow-up. Nobody cares about the follow-up. People care about the initial reaction, their initial stuff. Nobody cares about the follow-up, ever. And the NFL thing, like the report, if it comes back, the Patriots, the deflated balls weren't, and by all accounts, it's looking wasn't.
We'll forget about it.
We'll forget about it because it's months later. It's not that big of a deal, and people are just gonna remember. Oh, 11 deflated balls, 11 out of 12 deflated balls. They don't look at the report where actually 10 of those 11 deflated balls weren't deflated by that much. They're deflated by maybe a few psi's. And we're not talking about like 1 or 2. We're talking about like percentage, a little bit less than what was legal, and only one was really deflated. And it was the one that I think the Colts gave to the league.
So
you don't hear about that.
We'll find a way to justify it one way or another.
Yeah, but you don't hear about that. You don't hear about the follow up. Right. That maybe they weren't cheating. Maybe it really was. Yeah. But you'll never hear it, and people don't care about the follow-up. People do not care about the
drama.
Yeah.
But the early, I don't even want to get into it. Spygate.
No, I want. But I mean,
we got Roger Goodell, commissioner of the NFL. We decided to destroy all the tapes.
Yeah.
No, I think, dude, as much as they make, show us the fucking tapes. Seriously.
John likes to see tapes and bodies and.
Why not? Okay, well, here's the thing. No, I know you're making a joke, but I'm just saying, on 9/11, we saw airlines crash into the tallest skyscrapers in the world, or some of them, and then we saw people jumping to their death because they were burning on fire.
Yeah.
But you can't show us a couple of, you can't show us a plane hitting the Pentagon, really? Is that too traumatizing? Is that going to mess us up?
Classified.
Yeah, they didn't knock down one pole on Washington Boulevard. They didn't damage any grass. It was a perfect circle.
Do you realize the landscaper for the Pentagon's fucking? He was given an award. That grass is nothing was gonna fuck up that grass. Landscaper of the year.
Yeah,
the Pentagon's gonna hire the best landscapers there is. He guaranteed that grass was gonna get fucked up.
It's bulletproof glass. Grass.
Grass, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, John. So there's your answers.
Finally.
So what we can conclude from all this was Nixon killed Kennedy. 9/11. 9/11 was an inside job. And the CIA is doping up in America. So
believe the last one, yeah.
So that's what you can get from our podcast. Okay, so let's start wrapping it up. Okay, so conspiracy theories. I mean, there's a reason that they're popular. And even me, there's a lot of stuff I'm not as into as you are about conspiracy theories. I understand why they're so popular.
Well, if you doubt JFK, do you doubt JFK?
I don't know what happened with JFK. I don't know if it was the CIA or.
No, I'm saying, do you think Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone?
I think that's the simpler story.
Yes or
makes
no?
more sense. Yes.
You think Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone?
I think that makes more sense.
So yes, You believe he acted alone? Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, then that's fine.
Yeah.
Because I'm saying because to me that's the most bullshit. It just seems most illogical to me. And if we can just grasp on one, then we should at least. I'm not saying I know any of it. I'm just saying we should at least say maybe.
Yeah.
That's my favorite word when it comes to these conspiracy theories. Maybe.
And you know what the thing with conspiracy theories is, you'll never be able to prove the official story, ever.
Not yet.
Because it's always gonna be, well, what if about this? Like, even if new stuff start coming, like I told you about the whole magic bullet thing. We disproven the magic bullet. It's possible that bullet was in no straight line because we've proven that we're the position of the scene. But people are like, well, okay, but what about this? There's always going to be another, well, what about this? And that's the reason conspiracy theories are so popular. There's so many things to question. Even if you start going through history of like, okay, we'll do with this proving this, but what about this? So it's always gonna live.
Right.
So it makes sense. I understand why conspiracy theories are so popular and why they're never gonna die. I understand that. There's no way you can ever gonna disprove to somebody who believes in the in JFK conspiracy theory why it was just Oswald. You're never gonna convince anybody. You could start going down through the whole list of discrepancies, and they're gonna be like, well, okay, I understand that, but what about this? This doesn't make sense.
Right.
You know. So I mean that's just the way I look at it. So.
Well, I will tell you this. Finally, the United States House Select Committee did actually acknowledge that that Lee Harvey Oswald did not act alone, and it was a conspiracy, in their opinion. Mm-hmm. No, I'm just saying. Mm-hmm. And that I was trying to find that earlier, but I'm saying that they don't really have any other information, but they're just saying same thing that most people think.
Like, we watched Oliver Stone's movie, and we're like, oh, shit.
I don't even like to watch that.
Maybe he was right. He didn't make Platoon. Okay, so let's wrap this up. So that's our conspiracy theory podcast. I'm sure we're going to have another on other subjects. That was just more of a general thing, because we've done JFK before. It was our first podcast, and we'll do others. Next week, we're probably going to go back to not as crazy of a podcast topic. But any last thoughts from John or Marshall?
I'm tired.
That's Marshall's last thought. And John, any last thoughts?
John's gay.
Hilarious. Man, like I said, I don't want to say what happened. I just like to say, well, maybe it didn't happen that way. So
yeah. No, and it's totally like, yeah. I agree from your stand. Like, I can see why you say that. Yeah, no, totally.
I think all you Brian Williams fans should come forward, have a change of heart, because then I don't think we're being told the real truth.
Well, according to Brian Williams, he's the one who shot Kennedy. That's what he claims.
Right.
He was there. He was there in the 6th.
So you really think what we're being told here right now is the same as what they're being told in Iraq right now?
Who knows?
Yeah, I always.
I'm saying, you think the news is really consistent?
No, it's never consistent.
No.
No.
I think it's all made up.
And it's funny how, like, when you look at U.S. news to the world, what's important, what the top story is totally different from. Yeah, it really, there's an agenda. There's always an agenda, depending on the U.S. news or globally or whatever. There's always an agenda, and that's how you control a populace, by what information you give them. Mm-hmm. The easiest thing.
Wow.
What they don't know won't hurt them.
I'll leave it there.
All right, so that's it for us for this week. Hopefully, we don't get killed by the government.
Yeah.
We should probably not release this.
That would be fine. But in case you don't hear from me, if you hear from us in a week, you know what happened.
Okay, I accidentally did something here.
Uh-oh. John just got us killed.
No, we're good.
We're good. Okay. No, we're still alive. Okay. So with that, we're going to leave you. Next week, we will have a regular, quote-unquote regular, nice, non-conspiracy podcast. Yeah. So with that, we'll leave you for another week. We will see you next week. Y'all have a good week. Bye.